Yes, I'm not a voter. I wasn't a voter. When Trump ran, I bought all his shit. He got me. And I went in October, because in the state of Texas, there's a certain day in October where your ability to register to vote was ended. The day after that last day, because I didn't know, I showed up to register. After the last day, it was the next day. And I was going to vote. I actually was going to be a voter. And I'm glad I didn't get to register. Because Trump's one of them. That's my opinion. Trump's one of them. The whole damn thing is against us. It's Washington, D.C., the United States government, that is against us, the American people. It don't matter if you love all them and you back all them people in Maui. They loved them motherfuckers and they voted. And look at where they and their kids are right now, or their kids are right now. Their grandkids, their nieces, their nephews, their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents, their parents, great-grandparents that were still alive. Where are they right now? They're dead because they were murdered for the land as that tyrannical war started by North America with Abraham Lincoln against South America. Because South America said, we want to leave. We don't want to be in your union no more. Because they were changing things and creating laws and stuff that the South Americans did not like. They wanted freedom. Listen to the song the South created. I'm just a good old boy. Listen to it. It tells you about the Constitution. They knew what was going on. They were in there talking to them. And the leaders of South America did not want that. They didn't want to start paying. Yeah, a lot of them didn't want to pay their slaves. But so that way North America could start taxing them under the Union. Cops were created or sheriffs under the Union. Cops were created under the Union. The military, the armed forces, under the Union. The states are all unionized. United together to create the United States government. And it is all unionized. America's not unionized. We have been occupied by Washington, D.C., the U.S. government. That is, they say, is of America. It's not of America. It's not of America. It's not for America. It's not by, for, and we, or by, or of, by, and we, what is that? Of, by, and for, we the people. The people. For the people. We're not here for the government. It's not we the government that is of, by, and for the government, or the people in government. It's for we the people of America. It just don't say of America. It just says for we the people. Who the hell is we the people? Is it the people in the government, or is it us, the American people? Read up on it. I want to see it. I want you to show me the explanation of what we the people means. Who is we the people? Look it up. Show me. Tell me. Who's in control? I know who's in control and not supposed to be. Our servants of Washington, D.C. Of, by, and for the people. But you unintelligent Americans cannot understand that they have occupied America. All the rules and laws, regulations, and all that they can create, that Congress can create, is allowed to create, is only to be enforced upon the people in government, the departments that they create in the govern or by from the government, departments that are of, by, and for the government. That's what the departments they create is. That's what that means for them. Of, by, created. Of, by, and for the departments that the government created or the states created. Not that we the people created. Not of, they didn't create us. We're not here for them. But yet you're doing what they want. You unintelligent Americans are doing what they want, being there for them. Be here for us. Vote us in. Don't think about you. Don't be free. Don't be alone and govern yourself under the Declaration of Independence. It has nothing to do with a king, a president, a leader. That's why they created it. George Washington was against the king and his laws, regulations, and all that crap. George Washington, F you, we're going to create our own. And the North American government said, no, you ain't. Or the British. The British said, no, you ain't. Just like the North American government did to South America before that government was turned into the USA under Ulysses S. Grant, or the United States government. It's not of America. It's the United States government. They were given a little piece of land called Washington, D.C., and then they moved the Capitol building over there after the old Capitol building, the original one, was burnt to the ground. And then they reached over their borders, Washington, D.C.'s little borders, into America with their tentacles, like an octopus, reaching all into America using imaginary states, and then creating governors before we, the people, could start electing them when the 17th Amendment was created. They hired governors for each state to control the people in that state, and then report back to the government. Can't control, know everything about us without all them governors. And then the governors needed mayors for each city once it got too many cities and too many people. Well, we need something else. What the hell are we going to call them? Oh, all caps mayors. Redefining the words in Black Law's dictionary. You can look it up on the internet. Look it up. They took the regular, normal words, that was created by God, capital whatever, and the rest lowercase, normal language, and they turned it into something else and put it under legalese, legality. That has nothing to do. Democracy was never known until after the United States government was created. Abraham Lincoln was not elected. He was put in there before they created actual elections. There was no elections back then. They weren't even our leaders. They were just in control of a government they created to protect us from outsiders. That's all they were created for. That's all government was created for, to protect us from Britain, Russia, Germany, all these other countries. And then they created all this bullcrap where, even domestic. So if they come after us, the government, we can protect them from our masters. We can protect ourselves, the servants, from our masters. Police aren't our servants. Sheriffs aren't our servants. Yeah, you hire the sheriff, the head sheriff. You elect the sheriff. You don't elect the police chief. The sheriff's supposed to do what we want. Well, what are we doing or not doing to make sure that sheriff's doing what we want? We're not gathering up and going directly to the fucking sheriff, the lieutenant, and telling them, you work for us. You're going to do what we want, or we're going to eliminate you. There will be no sheriffs if you want to work and tyrannically take us over and force us to do what somebody else wants that's above them, that has no power to do that. There's no law that says government and the states and the police chiefs and the sheriffs and, lieutenants, all this shit can control the American people. That the American people, we the people, are to obey the laws they create, which are imaginary. They're not laws. They're created under something else because there's no law outside of legality that was created before all of that gives them the power to do what they do. They give themselves that power, and you allow it. Okay, you can do it. Oh, that's a new law. I have to do what they say. Okay, and they create it. We the people didn't create those laws and then say we the people. We don't control each other. We the people. There's no mass of we the people that has the right by law to gather together and say all the rest of you go do what we say we have to do too. No man has a higher claim over another man. There's no law that gives a mass of men, a group of men that call themselves or given a label to control all the other men. I mean, they're not obeying God. If God created the government, then why are they not obeying God's laws, the laws of the land? That's represented in the Declaration of Independence and then the first 8 of the Bill of Rights. 9 and 10 was created to protect us from the states and the government, and the 10th Amendment was created to protect the states from the government. The government can't come in and tell a state, you can't create that department. No. The state has the right to self-governance and create departments, but the departments are for those in the state. They're not for us. There's no law that says that they have that corporations, that's another department, all of a sudden is given control over us, to dictate over us, to change what we are to eat, and what we are to drink, and how we're to live, what we're to wear. You wear what they put in the grocery stores. You don't make your own clothes. You ain't free. You ain't independent, sitting there making your own clothes, your own shoes. You can do all of that. And lots of people are going to have to learn how to do that. Again, because of those departments that they created, those corporations. They created to stop us from being self-sufficient and independent, or independent and self-sufficient. We're supposed to be independent and self-sufficient. You grow your own garden, you raise your own food, you know what you're giving the animals you eat. You know what you're feeding the plants that you eat. You know they're not being changed, modified, messed with, to where it's no longer nutritious for us. So we can't survive and be alive and be healthy. We need to go back to independence under sufficiency, or whatever I said. We're not sufficient for ourselves. We're not independent. We're controlled, and we do what someone else says all of our life. Everything we do in our homes, everything we can't do in our homes. We have no power over our homes and ourselves and our children. You're going to take care of your children the way we say you are to take care of them. You can't take care of them your way. You got to do it our way. We're not your servants, even though we repeatedly says we are the servants of the American people. But we're U.S. citizens. That birth certificate births you into a state that is of the United States, so you're a U.S. citizen of the United States. A state united with all the others as a group. Group mentality. You're in a group, and you're going to do what we say. You can't create your own little group, your own little gang, and be outside of that. You can't talk about us and make fun of us and talk down to us. We're your dictator. and you're going to act right, just like over there where them Muslims live and their Jews live and all them. They can't do none of that. They can't talk politics to anyone else. They'll put them to death. Put them in a dungeon. Jails and prisons were always known as dungeons before they relabeled them jails and prisons. Those cuffs, they're shackles. I don't care if they call them handcuffs today. They're shackles. Shackles were handcuffs. They may have been wider and not, still the same thing. For murderers, thieves, rapists, violent people, and slaves. That's what they were created for. Shackles and chains. And if they want to think you're a danger to the public and other people, they'll put you in chains. Wrap shackles around your ankles and attach both to the chains to torture your mind and to torture your limbs. It's torture. It's for slavery. Letting these murderers out because they're only killing American people, their own. Yes, we're going to let them out. They're helping us to depopulate the population. There's too many people for us to control. They're going to get out of hand. They're already starting. And so they had to start their population agenda. The vaccines weren't created because of COVID. COVID was created to create the vaccine. For the vaccines they already done created. It was imaginary. And they fooled you. My opinion, Trump's one of them.